So let's take a look at the overall approach you're going to need to solve this. Again, you know most of how to do this. It's using if statements, it's using whiles, it's using uh, everything that you've learned already. It's just a matter of putting it together. So let me get rid of that and we'll take a look at it. So I'm just really going to step you through how you might want to do this. Um, so the first thing is, how do you create a random number? And how do you create, all these random numbers? Because this one is going to take more than usual. So you want to, ask the character for a name. So you're going to input name. I guess you don't ask the character, you ask the user. And then the first thing you need is, there's these different fantasy races like dwarf, elf, and that kind of thing. So you're going to have to do the race creation randomly. And the last tip should have given you a pretty good clue on how you might want to go about doing that one. Then you would do, let's use instead of class, we'll call it the role. And that's if they're going to be a bard or a paladin or a wizard. Yes, I know in most games that exist, they would get to choose that, but we're going to do it for them in this game. So, sorry, people, you don't get choice. And then you have the stat creation. Oops. And we're going to get into that one. We're going to take a better look at that. And then you're going to have what we might call stat adjustment, because depending on what stat depending on their role, they're going to get a different stat adjustment. And basically, you're going to ask them if they'd like to keep it. And if they say no to that, you want to do it all over again. So let's take a quick look at that first. Up here, we would want to do a while loop. So we're going to do while keep it is equal to no. We're going to keep doing these things if they don't want to keep it. Right? Now, depending on the question you ask, would you like to keep it? And they say yes, or would you like to trash it? And they say no. So ask the question the way you want to ask it. But the only thing here is to just set no at the beginning. Oops, not no. To set keep it at the beginning to no, so that it runs for the first time, because it's like, oh, look at that. It equals no. I'm going to do these things. And then that's how you could put this. You don't really have to even add the while loop until you're done with the whole thing, and then you can figure that part out. But that part sometimes trips people up, so you can do it at the beginning if you want. But that's basically how this is going to go. Now, how do you create the stats? Let's take a look at how to use functions to do this, because that's going to be really important in this one. It's not really an option if you don't want to get driven crazy. So let's just say we have strength, and we want to equal whatever a function is going to equal. And so we're going to create a function that runs the stats. And the cool thing is, once we get that, then our dexterity can equal the same thing, not the same results, but the same creation of them, and so on and so forth. And you can have all of them do that. So up here at the top, I'm going to create a function for stats. And then it's pretty easy. The stats in this game are rolling a 6-sided dice 3 times. Now that's not the same as, so if I said dice equals random int, you can't just say, oh, well, that's 3 to 18, because 3 to 18 would be giving the same odds for a 3 as any other number, and that's not quite how it works if you think about it. What you want to do is a 1 to 6 and then add them, which means that the only way you could get a 3 is if it shows a 1 3 times in a row, which is unlikely. But if you just said 3 to 18, it would be a 1 in 15 chance of getting it, instead of a 1 in 6 to the third power chance of getting it. So you're going to do that 3 times. So you create 3 dice, roll 3 dice, add them together, and then return that total of, the sum that you just added. And that will come down here and go into strength. And so then you've got it. You can use this one random number generator over and over again for all your stats. And then the stat adjustment. This one, there might be some really cool way to do this with functions, but the most straightforward way is to say basically, okay, my role was a paladin, so that means that my strength gets to go up. So you could do strength plus equals 3, which means increase the strength, and it might help if you spell it correctly. And you would do that for each of them. You might be able to come up again, like I said, with a way to do that during your role creation if you made that into a function that came back with an adjustment and stuff like that. But for the most part, I would say this is your most straightforward way of doing it until some brilliant student shows me otherwise. So that's how you do this one. It's pretty fun and pretty straightforward, even though it seems complicated at first. So I hope you have some fun doing it.